So I want to put this in, maybe put it in the right way, just for the heck of it. Okay, that is moving smooth in there. We're going to put some grease in it though. Welcome back to the community, everybody, and thank you all for being part of it. And also, I wanted to thank those who have donated to the channel. I really, really appreciate that very much. Okay, today we're doing a conversion kit. As you're aware of, 70 and back, I believe it is the throwout bearing like I have, and the older style pressure plate. In 71 and up, Volkswagen improved it by putting that collar on where the throwout bearing slides on, and it's a much nicer setup in my opinion. That's probably why they sell a conversion kit like you see here. And that's what we're going to do today. I've never done one yet, so I'm going to do it right in front of you, see how aggravating it is. But it's always good to upgrade when possible. So we're going to go to the new style pressure plate and clutch and Sachs throwout bearing. And we won't have to put safety wire on because I know a lot of folks do that. Okay, enough about that. Let's get on it. Do you remember VW Trends magazine? It was away for 16 years. Well, in spring of 2021, VW Trends came back into existence. So go down into the description below and subscribe to this great magazine. All right, we are on the driver's side of the transmission where the clutch arm is. And I had previously, when I was cleaning up the transmission, had wire wheeled this area right here. And I went ahead and sprayed some PB Blast. So we're going to go ahead and get some snap ring pliers and see how hard that is to get loose. I know I've brought this up before, but this Channel Lock brand of snap ring pliers, they're very nice. And then you just switch, goes the opposite way. No, I don't own Lowe's, but they're just really nice. Okay. There we go. Now I'm probably going to have to get a puller behind there, I imagine. I'll give it a few taps and see what it does. I don't know if it's going to come off that easy. I would doubt it. Whoop. Nope. It is not. Started to move, but it's not looking promising. All right. I sprayed a little more PB in there. I want to see if this hammers off before I go heating everything and making it hot. It moved a little because the snap ring wouldn't fit now. Nope. I'm going to have to see if I can get my puller on there. It did move a little more though. I'm going to try and file this a little. I don't know if there's an edge on here and it's keeping it from coming off, which could possibly be. When they pounded it on from the factory, they probably hit this. So let's see if I can file that off. Probably going to have to get a new bushing kit now, which I was trying to keep from doing. You see. Nope. I don't know if that'll hold on to there or not. Seems kind of flimsy, but I'll try. Once this arm's up, I'm gonna get to the point of almost polishing it. Almost. It's turning easy now, so there it is. I don't see an edge on this anywhere. I think it was just on there forever. Oh, all right, let me get the snap ring off inside. Now you see what happened here from me beating on it, what I did to the snap ring, which is not a huge deal, but still the point. It probably broke loose from its sleeve in there. Yeah, it did. We get a new arm with it anyhow, so it's fine. Yep, that's what happened. It actually came out of its slot. All right. Eek. Okay, let's take our set screw out, or should I say set bolt. It is an 11 millimeter. I can't believe that arm was on her that tight. Okay, wait, my wife just turned her stereo up. Let me close the garage window. Let's get our old school throwout bearing off of there. Come on. I don't care about this one, so don't matter if the clips break, but they didn't, so it's okay. Sure, if they were in the car under pressure, they would have. All right. Now I have the snap ring off. I gotta try to slide this over. Come on, get on her. Nope, I bent it. Now I need a new bushing kit. Pound on this a little to knock out bushing out of there. This bushing needs to come out, and then the handle can angle down, and I'll just get a new bushing kit for it. I was going to order a bushing kit, and I didn't. Not sure why, but I didn't. Once I get the bushing out, it should be okay. Yours may not be this tough. Mine is, because it was sitting in a junkyard forever, so everything is very stiff on it. Man. Come on. Wow. Almost there. I shouldn't even have to take it out this way, but I did. That's just the rubber seal you're seeing. This is nuts because I have to get this off of here in order to loosen the arm and slide it down. A little bit more and it would have done it. Can you believe that? That was not fun. Normally, they are not like that. I watch a lot of folks just slide the bushing out and pull the arm out. Not mine. No way. I'll order the kit you see here. And of course, it'll still be in one video here. I'll just edit it. This bushing here, I'm not going to take out because it seems perfectly fine. It was smooth on that. All right, so that was the beginning of the video. I had to stop and order a bushing kit after that dilemma with the old aluminum one sticking in there. That usually is not that stubborn to get out. So that one was, and now we got our bushing kit. So let's get back to work and show you the conversion. All right, so we have everything set up. We're going to go ahead and go over a couple of things with the new shaft and what to be careful of when you're ordering. Now, as you know, we had a heck of a time getting our factory shaft out. This aluminum bushing that was on there, well, it was apparently on there for a very long time, as you see in the first part of the video. Normally, you can slide these out and then pull the shaft out. It didn't work that way. But when I was speaking to Brian, a transmission friend of mine, when I ordered the conversion kit, he says, you're probably going to need a new bushing kit. He didn't even know this happened yet. He said, get the bronze kit. So I did get that. However, be careful because the new shaft that came, which we were okay with, you have to make sure these are the same size. And I'm going to show you what I mean. Now these shafts, and that's an illusion. It's not longer. It's the same size. For some reason, when it was laying that way, it looked longer. They come in either 16 millimeter or 20 millimeter. So before you go crazy and order a conversion kit, to which I did, or you're ordering a new cross shaft, make sure you get the proper bushings to fit the cross shaft. So what I did do is I went ahead and I measured each one. So this is the one that came out of the cart, and as you can see, that is 16 millimeter, 15.95. All right. So when Brian told me that, I was like, uh-oh. So I went ahead and I measured, and same thing, 15.65. That's the 16 millimeter shaft. These are more of a generic pair of micrometers. If it was the 20 millimeter, you would know real fast. So make sure that you measure those, because I didn't even know there was two different sizes. So I went ahead and knew which bronze kit to order because I bought the bronze bushings for it. So let's check the inside bushing. Now inside of here, you have a bushing. These are not fun to remove. It can be done, but it's not something you want to do if you don't have to. So I'm going to take our new one, I didn't grease it in there yet, and slide it in there. Make sure it feels smooth. That's this side here. No, there's no play up and down or nothing. Okay, that one will be fine. We won't have to go ahead and remove it, thankfully, because I really wasn't in the mood to be pulling that out of there. If you have to, I've seen some people use the distributor drive puller, and they mess with them a little bit and get them in there and knock, pull them out is what they do. But we're going to go ahead and remove the input shaft seal first while nothing is in our way. So let's get that out. You can see I started tearing away at some of the seal already. All right, so let me get a little more of this rubber off of here. I was trying to get it out of the way so it's easier to see where I'm at. Some people like to just put a screw in and try to pull it, do it which way is more comfortable for you. I bought this off of Amazon, so Hopefully it hooks in and does what it's supposed to without any damage occurring. Ignore the little lights there. I don't know which way to... Let me try up this way first. Ooh, it's not going to reach in there. Well, that's kind of a crap deal. Give me a second here. What you're going to notice that I did is I took this on my grinder and I altered the tool slightly. I had to modify it so it would fit inside. So let's see if that works now. Hopefully it does. Squeeze this up in there more. Okay. And there you have it. Usually these are a nightmare to get out. I'm surprised something had to go right. And all I did was take this and bend it. But it pulled it out. That's what matters, as you can see. But I'll go ahead and straighten that back out. But these are pressed in extremely tight. Now, what we're going to be replacing it with is this collar, because we want this collar on there so that it's like the 71 and up style where the throwout bearing slides on it, but not yet. All right, let's open this up. Now, as you know, I got the conversion kit from Southern Cal Imports. Let's take a look and see what came in our bushing kit. And I did order and make sure that it was a 16 millimeter instead of the 20, so be cautious with that. Now it came with a washer. I saved my old washer too, just in case I needed a double washer. I'll show you what I mean by that with measuring. This bushing we will not need, thankfully. And this bushing we do need. There's the grub screw. And we're gonna go over something on that in a moment. Let's try it on here. Make sure it's smooth. Now you don't want it loose at all because there's a lot of pressure on this, but you want it smooth, and it is very smooth. I think I feel something on the edge. Maybe not. Thought I felt something, but check this. It's better to check it now than anything. So I want to try something a minute here. So I want to put this in, maybe put it in the right way, just for the heck of it. Okay, that is moving smooth in there. We're going to put some grease in it though. And nice. Nice and smooth. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. So we know that's moving smoothly. So we're going to slide the brass back out. And we checked our arm. Our arm is nice and tight. Not tight where you can't move it, but there's no movement up and down. So thankfully, we do not have to change that bushing. All right, we're going to take our snap ring. I had to change the tips so that these fit tighter. Hang in there a second. I'm trying to get them seated. The other ones were too small and I didn't want to fit into the holes. There we go. You want them to fit nice and tight in the holes. If not, it'll never hold on. So we're going to go ahead and slide the inner one on right there. When I say tight, they're tight because I was having trouble with the other one slipping off. Okay, and there we go. Now what I like to do with these, I also like to take probably in front of you and squeeze them slightly. Let me get a different pair of pliers. I like to squeeze these together So I'm going to do that. There we go. All right, that is on there because you don't want that to move at all. Now what we're going to start out with is, uh-oh, lost my other snap ring. They had two here. I'll find it. What you're going to do is start out with a couple washers. Okay, we can always adjust. So I'm going to slip a washer on, slip. This came off of the other one. That one needs cleaned up a little bit. Okay, give me 1 second. I want to clean the inside of this. There must be a burr somewhere on it for it to not slide on. And I'll show you what you do with the washers, the reason they're important. Let me see. I don't like how that feels. Oh, okay. Now it's spinning. Okay, that's just a spacer is what it is. Now here's a word to the wise. Now, you see your snap ring here, okay? See where the holes are? It goes in like this in the transmission. Keep the holes of the snap ring faced towards the engine, just in case you've got to go ahead and get this back off and this doesn't want to move. The holes are facing you to take it out from, you know, being inside again. So everything's moving smooth there. Let's go ahead and go to our next step. Now your bronze bushing has a hole in it. And as I showed you, the grub screw goes in the back and it holds it to keep it from spinning. So what I suggest you do to make it easier when you put it in, you're going to see that hole there, okay? Make a line with your Sharpie towards the end of it so you know where that hole is once you slide it in, and you'll know where to turn it to for the grub screw to line up, okay? Now, we're going to give a little test run here because we got to do some measuring. So we are going to slide this in, slide that back into the bushing. I didn't grease it yet. We're going to put our bushing in, and there's a reason. You'll see why in a minute. Where aren't you going in? Something up that I need to know about. Oops. Okay, it wanted to go in the one way. So I'm going to make a mark at that end so we know which way the grub screw is facing. Just like that on the end. All right. So we're pushing this in, and what we're going to do now is line the grub screw up and put it in, and I'll show you why. Now, as I said, you have your mark there, so you're going to spin at to where the hole will be lined up for the grub screw. But we're going to take a peek first to make sure. Now, do you see in here? I'm trying to get you in there. It's not easy. And you'll see that. See it turning? There's the mark. There's your mark. Slide it in and make sure the hole is lined up. Okay? If you don't make sure that's lined up, you're just going to end up crushing the bushing and it'll be stiff and it won't move at all. Now, there was a reason we're doing this already. Okay. Okay, so we have a little bit of play here, and I don't like that. But I want to measure because This looks offset a little bit. You want it even on each side. So what we have is, looks like, it's hard to see that. Let me see here. There we go. 1 1/16. That is, ooh, that's 1 inch. Okay. What we don't want is we don't want it to ride uneven. Now, once the collar's on, pound it in evenly. And it does look even. Now, I don't like the amount of play. That I don't like. Okay, so I got a hold of Brian, and yes, a little bit of play back and forth is what we need. So I'm going to take the grub screw back out of the back. Take your time doing this. We're going to push the bronze sleeve back out, and we're going to take this back up for right now. There's the washers. There we go. I'll set them right there. Now, what we're going to do, and I checked this earlier, and it didn't want to go on. It just starts to, and then it sticks. So what I did do, I took a file and I cleaned up the edge of this. What I'm going to do now is take a piece of emery cloth, mild emery cloth, and run it around there. So give me a second. All right, I'll bring you up close in a second. What I had to do is I had to take some emery cloth and roll it around here. It needed skimmed up a little bit. And the teeth, I had to take a file, and what I used was a triangular file, 3-sided file, so I could get it into the teeth. You may not run into this. Also, what I did is I took my file and I got in the teeth in there and I cleaned them up. And I took my emery cloth, spun it around a pen and put it in there and just kept spinning it to clean it up. So you may get stuck doing that, you may not. So what we're going to do is check our mark is still there. Make sure your mark's there where your hole is so that you could tell. I'm using the old grub screw. I didn't like the new one. It was kind of flimsy. Go figure, there's a surprise, huh? Let's put our washers back on the right end. Since Brian gave me the thumbs up and said you need a little play in there, so that's on there. We're going to get some grease. Now don't be an idiot and go crazy. Just put a little bit on here because you're putting this inside of this enclosure and it'll almost act like a hydraulic and push it back out if you have too much. I have Molly grease, high pressure I should have used, but this will work. Okay, so we got our washers on and our snap ring. We're going to put the, put this in here, and that's moving nice and smooth. Still feel like I should have got the, let me get the heavier grease. I don't like that. There's a hole in the top of it, so I might as well go ahead and dip my brush in there. Swirl it around in here. There we go. A little bit more. There, that makes me feel better. Sticks a little better. Might push it back out briefly because it's a very thick grease. There we go. All right, let's try it again. Oh, that's better. Okay. It's a thicker grease. I like it better. Can you see? Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's nice and smooth. I'm happy. If I'm happy, you're happy. All right. All right, what we're going to do here is see our line, get it pretty close to the grub screw. Then I'll go around the back in a moment and see if it's lined up with it. But before we secure all this down, we're going to do something. Okay, so let's see. You got to put your cup back on. Hopefully that'll give me, I didn't put the spring on yet. Still don't have enough clearance to the snap ring. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, that bushing is holding it back a little bit, which means I got to remove a washer. I'm going to remove a washer. All right. And now we have enough space for the snap ring. Okay. I was wondering what the heck was going on there. All right. Okay, our little cup. Let's get our spring in place. Well, not in place, but on. Before you put the arm on, the flat side here faces the front of the car. The cupped side, and there's a reason, your nut seats inside of there. So you want that facing the rear of the car towards the motor. All right. So I'm going to slide this out since we don't have the grub screw on yet, so I can get the snap ring on. There we go. Before we hook the spring up, we're going to line the grub screw up. We're at the back for the grub screw, and I've got my little mark. I've got to watch for the hole to line up. I'll turn it a few times. Whoop. You all right? Right there. We're going to put that in there. We're going to take an 11mm and tighten it up. Your size may vary depending on the bolt you have. There we go. Get under here and whoa, wait a minute, I think I locked that. Oh, well, that was weird. That was weird. Usually I have a hard time with them. Guess you folks were there to help. We're almost done. We're going to have to put our collar on, and then we will be over to the new style. Pushing it. It's nice and smooth. That's the spring making noise. What I did, I went to Home Depot, picked up a piece of galvanized steel, 1 1/4 by 6 inches. And to be honest with you, Heather's the one that found it. I was looking through all kind of shelves and I couldn't find a piece, and she did. She took this off of me and said, well, that worked for pounding it on. I didn't want to admit it to her, but she was right, and it did. So that's going to go good for pounding it on. This cost $2. I'm going to run this across the grinder real quick just to take the edge off of that. Give me 1 second. Make sure that's clean inside of there, which it is. Let me try something a minute here. Just getting any edges there could be on here, which there shouldn't be. Now, I'm going to go ahead And I'm going to put just a little wee bit of Permatex or gasket seal or whatever you refer to it as. Just around the collar here, just a skim of it. I don't want no leaks. Leaks are a bad thing. Might help it go in a little easier too. Okay, set that there. I don't want that falling. All right, a little dielectric grease, which I seem to be famous for now, around the rubber seal to make it slide on easier, because dielectric grease doesn't make rubber corrode. So that should slide on easier. I'm going to use a dead blow hammer and get this on there even. All right. Whoop. Yeah, that's right side. Oh, please go in right. Okay. Looks like it's in there all the way, but I'm never happy, so once more. And that's it. I don't like the way that's sitting. Let me hit it one more time. There we go. How's that look? We just converted over. We're going to put the throttle bearing on in a moment. Oh, this is nice. That is nice. And you make your own tools. I mean, come on, this was like $1.90 or $2. I did grind the edge slightly just to smooth it out. But I measured the shaft. It was 5 inches, so I wanted 6 inches, just so I had enough to where I wouldn't hit the snout, you know. This is a very compressed fit. All right, give me a second here. Now with the kit came AC Industries, made in China, which everything's made in China. Not a lot bothers me anymore, but I have a sax. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the sax on it. Now what I'm gonna do, take my screwdriver, recognize that, 36 millimeter. And I'm gonna put it like that just to kick the arm out. We are going to put our throttle bearing in. I forgot my needle nose. Do the other side. Okay. Those are on. I like to give a little squeeze to the spring. That's just me. You don't have to. There we go. And that's what we were looking for. It rides on the collar. No problems. The clips hold better. We got away from the old style and converted over. I think that's an awesome idea. What do you think? So what we have is a Swingaxle converted over to an IRS style clutch pressure plate and throttle bearing. And that is going to be awesome. We don't have to worry about anything coming apart. Mission accomplished. You know, a lot of times I try to stay with all German stuff when possible, like original things. But I must say, that was definitely, that was worth the upgrade. I know a lot of you say it's fine to run the old style stuff, but them old style throttle bearings, a lot of folks have to twist wires around them and everything so that they don't come off. I like it better when I don't have to do that. So This was a great conversion. Next week, we're going to go ahead and put the axles on, show you how to shim them properly, and then the swing axle is going to be completed. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the main brake line from the front to the back and hook it up, and that way I can put the transaxle in. Because once I get that brake line run to the T-fitting in the back, I'll run the one to the right side, run the one to the left side, and get the hoses laying there. That way I can put the transaxle in and get it out of my way. That way the transmission will be in, and we'll go ahead and put the rear bearings and seals in and get the rear wheels put on. That'll make me smile. And then what I'm going to do next is go to the front of the car, put the brake lines on the front, hook the hoses up and everything, mount the calipers and the rotors, whoa, screwed up, and then put the front wheels and tires on. That way the car can be on rollers and it'll start to look a little bit better. Then we'll go ahead and do our interior, sand down the roof and everything, and get ready to put the motor in, and I made it all sound easy. So stay tuned while I speed things up a little bit, and then we can cover a lot of stuff up, because I have to sand the roof of the car yet, and the dashboard, and the front hood. So everybody, thank you so much for being part of the chats on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. It has been a blast, especially now we're doing them from the garage. Everybody, have a great day.